So for these photos, these are my landscape style photos. Like I mentioned in my plan, this is the one where I wanted to use the smoke flare, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I did put this in a different order for the sake of my series, but I actually did the white smoke first, because I thought that if I used the pink smoke first, it would get all over the dress and it might still linger around in the background. So I did this photo shoot after my white smoke one, but for the sake of the series, like I said, I put it in before, as it goes obviously in order. But yeah, this turned out really nicely, and the photos I liked the best were the ones that were kind of more compact, so these ones. I don't get me wrong, these ones are my favourite ones, but I did like these type of ones, but I felt because I used the white smoke, it just looked a bit similar to the other one. It didn't really differentiate them. So when I actually picked my raw images, which you can kind of see here, these were the ones I wanted to pick, because I think the green background also looked really nice as well, as that stood out, and kept that kind of idea of the contrasting. I think that just looked it just kind of flooded the image, and it just kind of blended it in, which is what I did not want. I wanted to stand out. But overall, it was a quite good photo shoot, and I'm pleased with how it turned out. Yeah, like I said here, that I just mentioned about how I liked the rebellious look on her face for this one, for example. There's another one in here as well where she's kind of looking straight at the camera, and I really like the rebelliousness of the photo. I think it looks really nice. Yeah, I mentioned here about the lens flare between the gaps of the trees. It kind of just blends it in, and makes it part of the photo. These were the photos I picked. Like I said, I wanted ones that kept that greenery in. I did pick this one, which I did say I didn't like the kind of how it's all across the image, but I liked kind of the gap and then the swirl. I like the shapes you can pick out from it. I ended up using this one. I didn't use those two, but again, like I said, I did like the kind of shapes that I could pick out, so I thought it'd be good to include that. Same here, I liked how it covered the face. I think it would look cool if she wasn't holding it, though. I didn't like that you could kind of see it. I mean, if I block it out, it looks quite cool if she had her arm down, but because she's holding it, I just feel like it doesn't look like a purposeful shot. It just looks a bit accidental, and that's not what I wanted. But this one I think was perfect. I love how it looped around, went out the frame and comes back in. She's perfectly centered in the shot. You've got all that kind of darkness in the background. I think everything that I kind of wanted in the photo was demonstrated in this one best, so that's the one that I went with. I then did my design idea about placement of light and illustration. So I said I wanted the light to come through the back of the trees so it looks natural and it fits in, and kind of overlay over the smoke a little bit. Not too much, but just to kind of make it it's actually part of the photo. And I think I was going to add the butterflies before I did that as well, because otherwise, you've kind of got the butterflies on top and it takes it kind of an element of realism. Sorry, it's a realism way. Yeah, so I went on Lightroom and I kind of started by getting the grain out of the image, because this is a very grainy image. You can probably see just from looking at this, it was a bit grainy, so I decided I needed to change it because it just didn't look right. And I found that when I got rid of the grain, it added quite a soft look, and it made the smoke look a bit more puffy than sharp. And I quite liked that. I think it looked quite nice. So really adds an element of mist and fantasy. And then I started adding my butterflies. I wanted to kind of place them on the shrubs at the bottom, because I thought that was quite a nice idea. And obviously blurring them as well to fit into that shallow focused shot that I had. Yeah, and then I moved on to just kind of placing them around everywhere, making sure the colours don't clash. But I also took colours from the photo, so I colour picked from the actual photo, another kind of colour palette to kind of help them fit with the pink, you can see here, the pink colours and stuff, so I wanted to kind of fit with that. And then again, blurring them, etc. And then I added my light after I did that, like I said, so that the butterflies aren't on top of the image, they're blended in. I added the light right at the top, so it's kind of what's the word for it, where it's, don't know, it just kind of like pierces through the top. I like how it kind of just has a bit of like a line, like it borders it quite nicely, and I really like that. Again, making that kind of sharp look, and I think it looked really nice coming through the trees. It really like it was part of the photo. It didn't quite go over the top of the smoke like I wanted it to, but for how it turned out, I actually think I prefer it to if it had gone over the top. I then added my kind of bluey tint, and I found the bluey green tint made that darkness, which you don't really see there. You can kind of see from how here to here that the darkness is achieved, which helps it link to the other two photos I've done. And then this is my final piece for that part of the series, and this is probably one of my favourite ones. I think the landscape shot was perfect for the smoke, because I think it got as much as it in as possible, rather than a portrait. Because if I'd taken that as a portrait, it would have just been a bit like shorter and white, like taller. I don't think I would have liked that. I like the kind of like straight across like that. Again, blurring out the butterflies, I think was really effective. And I don't know if you can see there, but there's also another butterfly I did, so I layered it behind just by changing the opacity, just to kind of, again, like make it feel like it's part of the image and make it a bit more real, which is funny because obviously it's surrealism, but I think the surrealism is achieved through the kind of realism look of it, because it doesn't look like reality. But yeah, I'm really happy with this one, how this one turned out. And I think it's another good image for part of my series that I've done so far.